What's up, everybody? This is Theocracy. I'm your host with Theo Snodgrass, coming to you live from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. How's everybody doing? Oh, shit, Strider's here. What's up, buddy? First in the chat. Give me 1 second, guys. I forgot the tip jar again. I did that again, which is the whole reason we're doing this. So, I would not be, I would not be doing this. I would not be doing this otherwise. All right, let's make sure we get that out there. Oh man. Dude, it has been a day, man. I just got here. Oh, Selena's here. Oh, what's up? Toasty's here. What's up, girl? Come on, I'll pull you guys up in a second. I gotta put this tip jar in the chat. There we go. Now we're doing it. All right. Probably should have done that beforehand. What's up? Toasty's here. What's up, girl? Selena's here. What's up, girl? Yeah, dude. It's been crazy. Throw any questions you have in the chat. I want to do kind of a Q&A format, or I want to move towards that. Right now, to get us started, though, I do have something. I saw this. This is my favorite news story. I couldn't wait for Saturday to talk about it. I'm probably going to bring this up again on Saturday because I love this story so much. This is my favorite thing. So a lot of us who talk to young guys, which is me, pause. Not, I speak to them cordially on a friendship level. I hear what they're talking about. And one of the things that they say all the time is that I don't want to approach women because if I do, bad things will happen to me. I don't want to hit on women because bad things will happen to me. And it's like, and we're always like, no, she might just be like kind of shitty to you for a second and then it's over, right? We've kind of downplayed that. They're like, bro, you don't understand. If I say the wrong thing, I could get arrested. And that sounds like hysterical and hyperbolic, right? I have, you gotta see the latest from the United Kingdom though. Here it's come. No, Toasty, not Cliff. Not Cliff. No. No. No means no. No means no, Toasty. All right, hold on. I gotta show you the latest from the United Kingdom. I'm so excited about this story because this is like, oh, I can't even wait. Ready? 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 Okay, here we go. This is the story. Hold on, I'm gonna play this video. Wait, hold on, let me find the video. That's an ad. Oh, hold on. I have to refresh. It's playing the wrong video. Give me a second. This will all be fixed in editing. That's the cool thing about live stream because you can just fix everything in editing when you use it as a clip later. So it'll look like I'm a fucking genius to the people who only watch the clips. I just retarded. Is the video like further down? Doesn't matter. Okay. Female cops in England went undercover as joggers. I know I had a video version of this somewhere. Oh well. Anyway, undercover as joggers wearing tight-fitting clothes in a bid to elicit catcalls, and then arrested some men who hit on them, according to report. And then, look, these are the ladies. These just hysterical mids are dressed up in these highly seductive outfits for catcall entrapment. Now, I do want you to keep in mind, audience, that they wanted to entrap men to catcall, and these were the best-looking women they could find on short notice to do it. So they were trying. This was the best they could do. And they're fine. But is this the best? Dude, the UK is cooked, bro. UK is tough. And hold on, I want to see if I can find the video because I thought I have a video somewhere. This is my fault. I'm just like unprepared, unprofessional. Let's see if I can find the video of them being like hysterical and horrible about this. I swear to God, it was in this article. But it's like, I'm not seeing it. So, am I scrolling by it, Chad? Am I just like... This looks like an ad, like a random fucking ad to me. There was a corresponding video. It was this fucking guy. I had the video. I don't know. Doesn't matter. This is crazy though, right? Like, and by the way, this is the same country that has a problem with the South Asian rape gangs. And this is where their law enforcement priority is. I know you can't say rape on YouTube. What do you say instead? Throw that in there. Anyway, the point is, they have issues with gangs of South Asian people who are doing things that are suboptimal. Really not being good citizens, just being a bad hang. Just not being a good time to hang out with. Yeah, and so that's the issue they're having. And this is their law enforcement priority. They set aside resources so somebody like pitched this in a meeting. So my question, I have a question of like, who set this as a law enforcement priority? Like, who was the one who brought this up and was like, the thing we need to, you know what, the main, look, we're in the United Kingdom, we're being invaded. Okay, people are being struggled in the street. Thank you, Strider. Shout out to Strider, friend of the chat, friend of the family, friend of the channel. There we go. Oh, man. And yeah, so people are being struggled in the street. We're losing our country. We're teetering on the verge of bankruptcy. We're at a crisis of immigration. And yet, our law enforcement priority is mids getting honked at when they're jogging. And that was what they were complaining about. They were complaining because people were like, you know, saying hi to them and honking at them. And this is the how you, I guess, how dare they, right? And look, catcalling seems like kind of a dick move. Like, I don't do it, but I'm not sure that's like the number one law enforcement priority. And the facts that they might prospectively arrest someone on charges of misogyny for honking and waving at a woman is like the kind of like dystopian Orwellian shit that people have been talking about. And I always thought that was I always thought that was like hysterical and stupid. And I've always been really dismissive of that attitude, but now I kind of see what they're talking about. This is a retarded idea. And obviously this is not like a countrywide initiative. I mean, it's, you know, 2 women in 1 photograph. I don't know if like the whole country is doing this. But the fact that they were able to talk men into like allowing them to do this is crazy. Like, they would have had to go to a pitch meeting like full of dudes and be like, okay, I know we're at this moment of like a total immigration crisis that is like destroying our country, but what I think we really need to focus on is mids getting honked at while jogging. That's our main thing we're worried about, and all of you should agree we're right. And a bunch of men co-signed that. They were like, yeah, Susan, no, I agree with you. That's horrible. It's horrible. I myself have never honked at a woman. I'm one of the good ones. And I'll show you what I mean. So I wish I could find the fucking video. That's so irritating. But this fucking guy is the problem. Just, oh yes, this is a very serious problem. It's people who can't. Am I on the right mic? Let's find out. No, I'm not. Oh, can people not hear me? Is that the problem? Oh, that's super annoying. How are we doing? Can you hear me now? Is that better? Oh, that's why. Okay, well, it happens. Okay, there we go. The point is, this is, where was I going? I was cooking. What was I saying, guys? I think it was, right, I was complaining about how this guy doesn't, look at this guy. It was his job. He green-lighted this operation. And, okay, thank you. Okay, now it's working. So great. Okay, so the first like 10 minutes of this. So whoever's clipping this, the first 10 minutes, just throw them in the shit can and we'll start over from here. That kind of fucked up the momentum, though. I didn't love that. Anyway. Like I said, I think the more concerning thing is that they were trying to entrap men into being so overcome with desire that they
initiated a cat call. And this is the most tempting women they could find on short notice. It's a couple of retarded zoo animals. By the way, both of these women are police officers, too. Both these women are police officers. Strider coming in with the cockney. Oh, you got a license for their misogynies. I love that. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know what. Okay. I've also been inundated on my timeline of women complaining about men not approaching them anymore. It's like, what did we do? What can we do? How did this happen? How's that? Do you really not remember? Do you really not remember the waging like a decade and a half campaign where you just wanted flirting to die, and then do you not remember that part? Do you not remember the part where a bunch of guys uh, publicly lost their careers for stuff that started off like pretty serious and then got progressively more innocuous and down to the level of just like casual misunderstanding? I also think like in the TikTok era where any bad interaction that you have with a woman could feasibly become father of a 21 part TikTok series that could go like turbo viral, and then people will dox you and find your information. That will happen. You know, it doesn't necessarily happen every time you have a bad interaction with a woman. Most interactions with women are good. I talk to women all the time, to be honest with you. I talk to a ton of women I don't know. Uh, Usually they want me to. So it's not for comedy purposes. And it it usually goes pretty well. I mean, normally we'd have new, but I'm also like not trying to fuck them all. So it might be different if you're trying to fuck them. I don't know, but like just like interacting with them on like a human basis in the context of doing comedy, it usually goes fine. And I'm not careful about what I say at all. Like I'm not remotely. So it usually goes okay for me. Um, I don't know, but I do think the risk is constantly in people's mind. By the way, talking about the title of this is "Women Are Going Through It" because this environment is uh, hard on women too. Did you guys hear about? I don't have the clips for this, but you guys hear about that woman on TikTok right now who's like fallen in love with her psychiatrist? Okay, I don't. This is like a big thing on the internet right now. It's like blowing up. I don't have a ton of time to add to this other than the thesis of her whole thing is I fell in love with my psychiatrist because he was acting so professional, and that was like his cover for how he was secretly manipulating me to fall in love with him, and he was acting professional and maintaining professional boundaries, and that was like his like secret tease to get her into him. It's like, oh, I fucking love it when you maintain professional boundaries, you sick fuck. You know, but he had in her mind, he had a whole other like covert intentions. Which, by the way, okay. So those of you that have not don't have a ton of time interacting with the mental health industry. Falling in love with a therapist is pretty normal and happens all the time. Falling in love with a psychiatrist is nasty work because they're like cold and detached, and you're basically in there to talk about medication, and that's it. It would be like falling in love with your, general practitioner or the chick who gives you a flu shot. You know, it's supposed to be like super cold and detached, and so if you're just in there, fucking turbo trauma dumping on this person that like doesn't need to deal with it, it's weird. It's weird because they just do medication. They don't talk to you. They're not even supposed to see you that much. So the fact that this woman was just like constantly. Anyway, so she's talking about this guy in this 20-part TikTok series. And of course, she accidentally. And yeah, but. Bulbasaur, imagine being her therapist, watching that, like, what the fuck? And then him telling that to his therapist, and his therapist getting jealous and posting his or her own video about it. Well done. I like this love triangle you've created. Sorry, you're doing fine. Keep it up. I'm glad we fixed the audio. No, but it's like uh, when I think about that, it's like She comes off as like completely delusional, and this is a comparison other people have made. But it's like if you've ever had a buddy who like falls in love with a stripper, and he's just going there like week after week, like dumping money on her. It's like, oh, she really likes me. That is the same vibe as this woman. Just like she's like reading into like every little gesture that he makes, and so she talks about him extensively on TikTok. She accidentally says his name, which causes TikTok to find him and dox him in real life. And what's crazy is this woman does not like she's not wearing she doesn't have all the classic like fatherless signifiers. She doesn't know dyed hair, piercings, tattoos. That's the mental illness uniform. Don't meet a lot of girls with a nose ring, a tongue ring, and a father. Not too many. Respectfully. She doesn't have any of those, though. She looks like a normal, kind of like well-adjusted, not drug-addled woman. She looks, but, and the way she's talking about this, it's crazy. So, now it's also hard to tell what of what she's saying is actually true. But one of the things she was talking about is that I have this friend who's a doctor, and she told me, one day, your psychiatrist is going to say, I can't be your psychiatrist anymore. Because I'm in love with you and I have to run away. They were just going to run away like a fucking Hallmark Christmas movie. And I'm like, that's not a good friend. That's not a good friend. Women give each other terrible advice, dude. That's not a good friend. That's not a good friend. And she was like leaning on the fact that her friend was some kind of like medical professional, as if that granted her some kind of expertise. Like they don't let just anybody do that. It's like, well, apparently they do. Because that's bad advice. That's terrible. Like, I would never, the male equivalent is like your buddy's in love with a stripper and he's just dropping racks on racks on racks on this girl. And you go over there, like, I would never go to that guy and be like, oh man, one of these days she's going to say, I can't be your stripper anymore because I'm in love with you. Like, I would tell him to stop doing that. I would tell him to stop doing that. Like, I would let him, it's a candid event. Like, some men have to go through that, it makes you a better person. It makes you a better person. It makes you more aware of the realities of the world. And some lessons can only be learned the hard way. However, like her falling in love with a psychiatrist, that's one thing. Whatever. That's crazy. That's crazy. And the way she talks about it is the way she framed it is that he was a predator towards her. He preyed on her. And as the way that he was predatory and manipulative was by pretending outwardly to be completely professional while inwardly having secret feelings for her and communicating them to her in like little subtle imaginary ways that only she could detect. So she's Looney Tunes. Bouncing off the walls crazy. Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes. But I do think though, I do think women are more, I mean, it's not like, dudes fall in love with their therapists too, but I think women are particularly vulnerable to falling in love with someone that tells them they're right about everything. I can say that from experience, and I could also say that Strider brings this up. The AI boyfriend arc was freaking insane. Yeah, okay, so I want to show you guys something. So this is not like scientific data, but I want to show you something. Boop. This is not scientific data, but look at this. Okay, so this is from Reddit. My girlfriend is AIs. These are dudes who are dating AI. There's 80 members. Now remember, Reddit is a website that skews heavily male. Even a lot of the females on Reddit did not start out that way. Respectfully. But look, my boyfriend is AI, 11,737 members. So there's a lot more activity over there. A lot more activity over there. On a site that skews heavily male anyway. So, and I think what I thought was going to happen with AI was we were going to get like her with Joaquin Phoenix, where all the fucking, weebs were going to get like robot waifus. Honestly, if I get a robot that can like clean my house and listen to my stories and not make too much of a fuss, I'm fucking it. I don't care what any of you say. Just fuck it, throw it right in the dishwasher. Respectfully. But that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought, like, dudes, well, because it's a lot harder for dudes to get laid. And so it's just, if you have a robot that you can fuck and it, talks like an anime waifu, then it's like, that seems like a no-brainer to me. I didn't factor in how many women were going to be into this, into the AI boyfriends. And I do kind of think that's the bigger problem on the horizon. I didn't think so at first. I definitely thought dudes were going to get swept up in the AI girlfriends. As soon as they turn porn into shorts, I think men are cooked. Like, if you get, like, VR shorts, but porn, we're going to turn into Wall-E people. It's just going to be big, fat dudes on, mobile beanbag chairs. That's society. Once we get VR porn on shorts, you're fucked. We're fucked. We're done after that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody factored women into AI companionship. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I don't think I think everybody assumed it was going to be the dudes who were getting it. Well, okay, the other thing too is that a lot of this discourse about the male loneliness epidemic is just completely like brainworms retarded. Like, a lot of the stuff people are saying about the male loneliness epidemic is just completely wrong. I think the problem is starting at the beginning, the term male loneliness epidemic is feminist in origin, so you should treat it with suspicion immediately. But no, we live in a society that's disconnected, in which everybody is lonely. A lot of people are lonely, but the women who are lonely are telling everybody that they're strong, independent girl bosses who won't settle for less. And I think a lot of people are just taking that at face value. Like, wow, it looks like women are thriving on their own, and the, men are going down the sewer slide, unaliving themselves, so to speak. I guess the men must be doing worse. And I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff we're hearing from women, especially because we're strong, independent girl bosses, but women are also saying, why won't anyone approach me? And why can't I find a man? And a lot of the content I see online targeted at women is about, like, finding dudes. So there's at least some of them who still want to date. They still want to do it. They're getting so desperate, they might start. Some of them are talking about how you need to approach men. They need to, like, be the initiators. Which is unpalatable for, I think. I mean, it sounds nice as a dude, but you trust me, you want the burden of approach, actually. Like, that also, burden of approach also gives you freedom of selection. Like, if you're just waiting for the girl you like to walk up to you, you're going to have a bad time. So, you get a lot more control of your own destiny if you take agency. I think that's the better position. But it's also, like, burdensome, and it's difficult, and women don't fucking like it. Did you guys hear about Bumble, by the way? So Bumble, the whole fucking point of Bumble was that the women messaged the dudes first. That was the whole fucking point of that app. And they changed it because women were like, it's too hard. I like it. It's hard. And by the way, they would bitch at us like, all you ever say is, hey. Literally every woman who's ever messaged me on Bumble said, hey or hey handsome. That was it. The only messages you ever get on Bumble. There's no effort, no thought. Women are also bad at this. Anyway, what's up, Vagabond? How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Thriving to them. Crazy, why not? That's just depressing, and they've been gaslit into thinking that's the life, that's the dream. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Think about it. It's like they're like, I have my career, and they have all these external markers of success that are sold to them from the time they're very young as you're doing a good job. Those are kind of like adult A pluses, and they prime I think women especially respond really well to that whole doing what's required and getting the award and getting the external validation. I think women are very motivated by that. And we've set up the world where it's kind of put on rails. They're from like kindergarten to through college, through pointless laptop job that, you know, is designed to keep you permanently single. Yeah, because that's the other thing too, is like, especially for women, hurting kids really hurts your career prospects. Having kids or hurting kids, having kids hurts your career prospects. Hurting kids is bad. Don't clip that. Don't clip that. Having kids hurts your career prospects. That's what I was thinking. And so the incentive, if your career is the most important thing about your life, then the incentive is for you to like not get married and not have kids and just like be single for a long time. All my homegirls that I know from law school with like high power jobs, like not some of them got married, but a lot of them are working a lot, we'll say. And it has an impact on your social life. It also limits your social circle to like other people who work all the time. You know, and then you got to like navigate fucking corporate HR culture when you're dating, which is excruciating. We just have so many things in our culture that just get in the way of forming human relationships. Hurting kids is a feature of the female teaching profession. Like, yeah, I can't disagree with that. Yeah, that's we kind of talked about this on the first episode, but basically the way that we do school is just antithetical to the way boys function in basically every significant way. And telling them to like sit down and shut up and pay attention and fold their and sit with their hands in their laps and you know, it's just not. That's not going to work. I mean, they have too much energy. That's also not how boys learn best. The other thing is the school disincentivizes you from making mistakes. It's like you get 100% perfect everything, boop, 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 do everything perfect according to the exact standard laid out by the teacher, and you get the good grade. And boys, I think, are better in an environment where they can like move fast and break shit because they don't care as much about the external validation, but they do want to learn the information. And well, another thing too is like history is super like violent and horny, and that's cool to, you know, men and boys. Like the violent, horny parts of history are the interesting parts. And that's most of it, actually. That's because that's what humans are. But one of the problems is the way that we teach history, we've completely like sanitized it, and we've wildly overemphasized certain historical periods and completely discounted others to the point that, and that's why we have so many historically illiterate people who think that the United States invented racism in the Declaration of Independence. That was the first time anyone was ever racist. It's in America's founding, so racism was invented, and then it stayed racist until our Lord and Savior TikTok thoughts came and liberated us by putting black squares on their Instagrams. That was what did it. That's history education. That's what they think is going on. They don't know. They don't know anything. I was talking to some kids the other day. They told me, I was like, "What do you know about the Roman Empire?" And they were like, "There were bad people who killed people and had slaves." And I was like, "Yeah, but they also had aqueducts. They also built the Colosseum, and they also invented Republican government. Isn't that cool? What about all the poetry and the language and the cultural contributions and the architecture? What about all that?" And they were like, "Yeah, they were bad people, but they did some good things." And it's like, why? How could you hate your ancestor that pathologically? Like societies that came before you, Western culture owes its lineage to. Oh man. Yeah, cool. Let's see. The women that I know that got older and don't have kids are getting sad about it. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening. I'm kind of seeing it too. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying this as I have no kids. I have a cat. So I'm saying this as just looking around at it. It is a sad thing. It is a sad thing. It's a huge fucking bummer because like jobs are not as fulfilling as they tell you they're going to be. Jobs on TV, isn't that interesting? Jobs on TV, it's like, oh man, I got to do the thing I got to solve the case, or I got to whatever. There's always like some like high stakes thing. Jobs in real life are not like, They're not exciting and dramatic the way jobs on TV are. They're just it's slow, painful, slow drip anxiety that like, and if you don't do what you're supposed to do every single day and you get fired, then you starve to death. That's what happens. And that's how life is for 90% of people. Almost everyone is just like one job loss away from their life going completely to shit. Almost everyone lives in that state of constant fear, and it's like, and it's asking you to love it. It's like asking you to, they ask you to love it. And if you don't love it, they treat you like something's wrong with you. That's what's fucked up. Is they're like, well, do you love your job? Well, if you don't love your job, then you should leave your job. And it's like, bitch, if I leave my job, I will starve to death. And jobs that people love, they pay in like peanuts and attaboys. Like mostly if you want to make a livable wage, you have to do something excruciating that no one else wants to do. That's why they're paying you to do it. And for a lot of people, and well, okay, that's not always true. Of course, there's like the laptop job, corporate aesthetic, whatever. I wonder if, okay, do you guys think that all these like tech girly, you remember those tech girly TikToks where it was like day in the life of a tech girly, and she was like, I got up at 10:30 and I had yogurt and there were dogs at work today, so I played with dogs and I did 2 Zoom meetings and then I went to the bar and got drunk and then I went home and that was my day at work. Remember that genre video? I should have some pulled up. I need a producer on this show. Anyway, so that was happening. Do you think that's real, or people were really posting that, or do you think that was just like a psyop to make girls want to get into tech? Because they need to have a certain amount of heads to hit their diversity quotas. So, like, I don't know if it's really like that, or if they're just trying to, increase the numbers by making it look super appealing. Because what they are is adult daycares to keep women childless. It's funny. I have a super fulfilling job, but it's not the same as a family. This is Gal, by the way. It's green-haired anti-liberal, friend of the channel, and a woman, contrary to popular rumor. Funny. I have a super fulfilling job, but it's not the same fulfillment as a family. Doesn't matter if your job is fulfilling. IMO, in my opinion. It doesn't make up for a family and never will. Yeah, that's what reasonable. That's how reasonable people think. At least for women. I assume the same for men, but in a different way. Okay, here's what it is with the job thing. There's a tiny percentage of men that become obsessed with one thing, and they love that. That's most people, it's their family. That's what gives their life meaning. A very small percentage of people are fortunate enough to become obsessed with something beautiful. And it usually ruins their life, by the way. That's the other thing about deeply obsessed men is, like, I think when feminists are like, we want to have the same success as the most successful men, is because they don't see average men. They don't exist. And everything that the women have gotten from their lives has gotten kind of for free because they went, and then they just got the thing. And it's been like that since they were a kid. So they think that that's how it is for men. And they see the success of obsessed men. And they don't understand the amount of sacrifice and toil that goes into that. And they don't want to do that. They want to get the awards for that without doing the work. So that's what they want. And most men, too, don't want to do that level of work. The amount of work it takes to dedicate all of your time and energy and effort to a career, and that comes at the cost of other things. You lose other things if you do that. You cannot have everything. So I think where some of the aspiring girl bosses fuck up is they think that they're going to have everything, and they are upset that they can't, and they're finding out that they don't want the career success nearly as much as they have. They want the families like you're talking about. And so they feel conflicted about that. And it also makes them feel like they're bad, or they're like setting back women's rights or whatever. You know, I think a lot of women feel like if they do anything nice for a man, that they're somehow sleeping with the enemy. And I understand feeling that way internally. And so basically they've been socially engineered to think and behave in a way that's counterproductive to their own well-being and counterproductive to the kind of behavior that would make them feel good naturally. And also our society is crazy, where basically people have to form cooperative groups to survive financially. So you can't just hack it on a single income, right now. It used to be the whole point of a job was to sustain a family. That's what it was. The job wasn't the end in itself. The whole point of a job is to sustain a family. And the getting like really obsessed with a particular mission is relatively rare. It should be. There's a tiny percentage of people that will gain the majority of their life fulfillment from their pursuits. And that will come at the cost of their family. Isaac Newton died a virgin. Nikola Tesla died romantically obsessed with a pigeon. And with no money. None of these motherfuckers had money either. Karl Marx, not a friend of the channel, but very smart. Begged for money his entire life. Just died impoverished. Nietzsche, I think, sold, 30 copies of his book while he was alive? Or something. Some small number. Let's see. Who else do I know that fits that category? Mozart was fucking notoriously terrible with money. Basically not. It came at the expense of other. And all these guys, had, fucked up personal relationships. And because they were doing this other thing. I mean, they were doing this other thing. Right? You see it in professional athletes. I mean, they'll have, horrible personal relationships and their body will be completely destroyed. But they had a great career at that one thing they were obsessed with, right? So that is actually not aspirational for most people. Most people are much better off seeking balance, seeking a balanced approach. And that is almost impossible with the current work culture. So let's see what the chat has been doing while I'm talking. It's a psyop, no doubt in my mind. Thanks, but thank you. I love it when people think I'm right. Yeah, we talked about this. Everything. What a misogynist you are. Oh, man. Gotta put that on a t-shirt. Fuck. I knew he was a virgin fucking nerd. Yeah. Okay. Funny thing about Isaac Newton. He was also... Okay. He had a bunch of stuff that his family destroyed because they were embarrassed about it and didn't want it to get out because they didn't want it to tarnish his reputation as a genius. This is 100% true. He was obsessed with the magical properties of prostitutes' menstrual blood. That's true. He invented integral differential calculus. And he was also obsessed with alchemy and magic and a bunch of other weird bullshit. And he thought that hooker menstrual blood was the key. Dude, yeah, for real, look that up. Yeah. Pull that up, Jay. Oh, I don't have a producer. I miss Emerald so much. Shout out to Emerald, 99 overall producer on Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass. A labor of love, a show that I love doing. And I love my panel. I have the best panel on the internet. I have the best audience on the internet. Except for the Theocracy audience, of course. You guys are better. I have the best audience on the internet. But, yeah, no, that's... Every person from history was a fucking weirdo. I'd rather not look that one up. Good choice. Yeah, no, every person from history is a fucking weirdo, pretty much. And was bad at stuff. And think about what it would be like to be Isaac Newton. Okay, so I pull that up, Jamie. Yeah, I fucking wish. Shout out to Emerald on the Touchgrass podcast, 99 overall producer. Gotta love him. I miss that guy. Anyway. Yeah, every person from history made horrible choices about stuff and stupid choices that don't make any sense and that were counterproductive and self-destructive. So that's good because that's what you do. You're a person. And so to find out that people from history were also people is really cool. The other thing, too, I think a lot of people we have a society with way too many elite aspirants, which is to say people who want to be world shakers, and there's not enough room at the top of the pyramid, right? So a lot of people are but you got to understand how many more people there are now So like when Napoleon was alive, a major metro area was 2,000 people. That's how big the world was. And everybody else lived in the fucking country. So it was like not that hard to fucking conquer everybody, I guess. I mean, it was hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't hard. It's just you got to factor in the world just has so many more people now. So it's a different landscape. It's a different. Napoleon's cool. I like Napoleon. I'm reading about Napoleon now. I finished that Hamilton biography. So there's going to be a few more Alexander Hamilton references, but then you're going to hear it transition into more Napoleon references as time goes on. And then it'll be whatever book I'm reading after that is what I'll be talking about. You can actually track it. It'll be fun. I don't know what's going on with you guys. Let's see. What other stories do I want to do? Okay, this is actually relevant to what we were talking about. So I'm going to share this. Give me a second. Hold on. No, I don't want to hear you.
Can't get more insane. Stuff like this gets said.
What do you think right now about how so many people are not having babies? I think the myth of maternal instinct, which was created by a man and has no scientific basis,
None,
has had a profoundly kind of depressing, awful, nasty impact on especially women.
It's been a bummer.
Do.
Yeah.
I mean, I picture people in a room one day saying, like, if we could convince women that being a mom comes naturally, like, that would be really good for us. Because then when parenting's hard, women will just blame themselves and they'll have shame. And when you have shame, you don't speak up for your needs.
This woman.
Yep. So that's what's going on with that. So now their story is not that being a girl boss feminist who don't need no man was the psyop. No. It was actually the idea of maternal instinct and the idea of women wanting to have babies. That was the psyop. And we, the enlightened liberal modern society, have said, no. A woman's deepest desire is not to have children and to raise a family. It is to sit under fluorescent lighting and boop on a laptop. That's what she... I mean, guys, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do with that? They're just... You need to have babies or you run out of people. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, they need to do that or the species doesn't go. You know, like, the species doesn't go. There's not more people if you don't have babies. You see what I'm saying? Like, am I crazy? Am I the unreasonable one? I don't know. And I think what's crazy is, like, so that woman is some, like, psychologist or like millennial parenting guru or whatever, and I do kind of think that that's I guess if to kind of defend her point a little bit, I guess, yeah, if you think mothering comes naturally and then you try it and it's hard and you suck at it, then that might be disquieting, I guess. But like, it just takes time to get good at stuff, I guess. I don't know. Like, suck it up, try harder. I don't know. I have a hard time feeling bad for that. And I think a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, oh, so my desire to have children is just societal conditioning and I should like ignore that and work harder at my laptop job. And the thing is, you could spend the rest of your life doing your laptop job. You got pretty much unlimited time to boop away on a laptop under fluorescent lighting if that's what you really want to do. You have a finite window to pop out babies. And I think you'll regret it if you don't, regardless of whether or not it's natural. And the whole point of disputing whether or not it's natural, the entire point is just to encourage people to go child-free, especially women. right? Because women at this point are really the ones who decide if children happen, because there's birth control and abortion. So if you don't want a child to happen, that's like 100% in her court. And most women decide if the men around them get laid or not. Some women who decide that kind of, you know, collectively, but also individually. The women are the gatekeepers of, you know, sex, and, you know, also she can decide whether or not to let you hit without, you know, hit it raw, or she makes you wear a condom or whatever. Like basically every step in the chain of this process, there's, you know, the ball is in women's court, right? So all you have to do, it doesn't take that much. It's actually hard. Conceiving a child on purpose is like not as easy as people think it is. For some reason, it happens by accident way more, but it's not as easy as you think it is. You know, a lot of people have fertility problems, and the point of this is to plant the seeds of doubt in people's minds about whether or not they actually want to do this whole thing. And they're the main driver of why you want to do it is the innate natural desire. And we need that natural desire because we need to have more people, right? But if you put doubt at that, it's like, oh, that's just social conditioning, and then I can just dismiss it. And like I would, there's all sorts of like natural desires we say no to. You know, like we totally understand this with the desire for food. I have the desire to eat fucking Chipotle 4 times a day, and I choose not to because I don't want to be 300 pounds. You know, so I could just, oh, well, that's just one of those desires that I have to say no to, and then and then pretty soon you don't have kids. I don't think people understand that they're gonna get old and that like life is gonna suck after a while. Like when your like body breaks down and your mental faculties start to leave you, the cool things about your life are gonna be the people who love you. Like that's what's gonna make your life cool and interesting and cool, and seeing the generations progress and rediscovering the world through the eyes of a young person who's, you know, vibing and doing stuff and discovering things for the first time. That's, I don't know if people get that. We made that like severely uncool in this culture. And for some reason we've venerated the vision of the forever single girl boss. Like that's going to be the most interesting thing that could ever happen to a person. And like that's like it's the highest calling you can be. Where it's really, if you meet one of these people, they're like selfish and rude and they're entitled and they're constantly on their phones. And so it's like not, you know, they're not particularly pleasant to interact with, and I don't know how much they're adding to the community. Whereas, like, you know, children for the most part are delightful. Yeah. So let's see. What other things can I talk about? Oh, this is a good one. So I saw this recently. Hold on. She's starting to figure it out. Ready?
Abortion right, but they
hold on.
The patriarchy, and here's why. We use force to uphold all of our rights, our protections, our legislation through the criminal justice system. If you break a law, you get caught, you get punished. It's pretty simple. That is using force to uphold a certain standard. And we all know that men on average are biologically stronger than women. They are more powerful, they are more aggressive biologically.
She's so close.
They have more capability to use force to get what they want than women do. Even when it comes to guns and revolution, men will always literally be on top because they have more stamina, more endurance, more power. Feminism fought for women's rights, but feminism didn't give women rights. The men in power did. And globally, it's been proven time and time again. You giveth right, but you can also taketh away. And it's why out of the two sexes that women are usually the ones being oppressed. In reality, even if we achieve perfect equality, we still have to look to the men to uphold it.
Yes.
And if they choose not to, we're fucked.
Right.
Which is why women in America are incredibly scared right now. It's realistically, women in America haven't really lost any human rights. They've lost an abortion right, but they have not lost any human rights, and nothing's really been taken away from them. However, losing the right to an abortion has woke a lot of women up that if men collectively choose to roll back more rights on women, and human rights at that, like the right to vote, etc., that there's nothing realistically they can do.
Right.
Even if it was equal number women and men in power, those men in power can easily subdue those women in power.
Yes.
Now I'm probably going to get a lot of names called at me for having this opinion, but it's true.
Yeah, it's not an opinion. It's not an opinion. That's the thing. It's that's just observing reality. But yes, you like all laws require force to enforce them, and men do that. Yep. Yep. I think that's just a really uncomfortable. That's an uncomfortable truth. I'll give her a pass. You're right. They haven't. Yeah, I'll give her a pass because she's British. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna dog her for not knowing the nuances of U.S. government politics, but yeah, she knows the feminist talking point, which is that abortion rights are gone. They took them away. And that's not what happened, but that's okay. But yeah, like this whole society is built and maintained by men, and men's use of force is what allows laws to be enforced. So a certain amount of force is required to maintain the safety, and men are going to be required to enforce that. And rather than it seems like the way women are responding to that insecurity is they're shrieking at men, demanding more freedom, more protection, more rights, more safety. And do you guys remember the video we watched a couple days ago about that female protester who she was like, I'm terrified. And she was like crying because she was terrified, but she couldn't like articulate why. I think that's where all of this is coming from, is just fear. I think if women trusted men more, it's the fact that like men are in power and they don't trust them. Like I think if men were in power and they trusted them, I think they'd be fine. I think they'd be chilling. But it's the trust breakdown I think that's actually creating the problem, because like there aren't societies where women enforce their own rights. Those don't exist. It's not a thing. There's no society where it's like women are creators and enforcers of the law and where women have the monopoly on force. That's not real. That doesn't exist. And you can want it. That's nice. We can think about it. We can fantasize about it. I could fantasize about it. I do fantasize about it. Yeah. That's what Themyscira is. That's why everything about Wonder Woman's so damn kinky. Look that up too, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, the guy who made Wonder Woman's a fucking pervert. Yeah, not so much of a women's rights icon now. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but yeah, but that's not real. It's like women don't have the monopoly on force on men. They don't enforce their own rights. Like the reason they have rights is because they complained, and then men said, okay, women have more rights now. That's what happened. Every single one. That's what happened. And it's not. And I don't know. She seems sad at the realization. I would guess by the bangs, pointing this out. Good call, Strider. I would guess by the bangs that this woman is a feminist, and by the fact that she seems to have the desire to destroy patriarchy. Like she seemed almost mournful that patriarchy was not going to be destroyable. Like she seemed upset about that, or like bummed out about that. It's like, aw. Equality between men and women is like fake and imaginary, because you need somebody, if you set a rule, you need somebody to enforce the rule, and that's always going to be men every single time. So like this is the thing I think a lot of leftists don't understand, or they have a hard time with, is that the underlying ethos that keeps society okay is not everybody just agrees to be nice. It's force. Everybody just agrees to be nice is a polite fiction that we can enjoy because of force. Because if you're not nice, then the force of government is going to be brought down on you and subdue you and then throw you in a cage. Like, and as that breaks down, so do, social customs and politeness and manners, and it becomes a low trust, every man for himself kind of society. And we're in a society where men and women have a relationship that's competitive, not cooperative. Yikes. So that's not good. That's not good. It's not good if you're like, substantially weaker than a bunch of these people that you have been psyoped into believing you can't trust at all. Like that's a super scary world to live in. It'd be like, imagine if, for the bed, imagine if you had to like, go to work with a bunch of gorillas, who all wanted to have sex with you. You know what I mean? That'd be fucking. Wouldn't you be nervous? I would be. I'd be nervous. Through the only reason that, I knew the only thing that was stopping that gorilla from fucking me was that he knew I didn't want to, and he was a nice guy. That freaked me out a little bit. Kind of understandably. I think the fucked up thing is that that's just reality, and you can only deal with it. You got to deal with it. And most men are like decent dudes, but like a lot of them aren't, and it's not that easy to tell at a glance, which is true. So I understand why they're also fucking upset about stuff. I get it. I get why they're like so like keyed up and turned up and upset. But part of the problem is that the reason society is perceptively so much more unsafe, whether or not, I don't have crime data in front of me, so it's hard to tell, but at least it feels unsafe. And I think that's because of the breakdown of social custom, and you don't know anybody. So everybody's all isolated. We don't have communities. We don't have predictable social norms. That's the kind of stuff that makes human interaction easier, is predictable social norms, knowing people, just like having a sense of community. It's like, even if I don't know you, I maybe know somebody who does. And it's like, all right, well, if he knows Steve, he can't be that bad. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And we can all do that because we live in the same tiny community. We mostly know each other. But in these giant urban areas where everyone's isolated, we all live in these little zoo cages, and almost everyone you interact with on a daily basis is a stranger. And those strangers have completely different social customs to you. And some of them want to have sex with you. And some of them don't want to be nice about it. And even the ones that are being nice about it may also want to have sex with you. They're just like nuts. They're just dealing with it, Like that's a crazy world for women to be living in. And I think that's where all this constant. So a lot of this like shrieking feminine, like I am terrified. Let me see if I can pull up that video so we can see what I'm talking about. I have it around here somewhere. But like that's so telling because that's it's around here somewhere. Doesn't matter. That's the whole point, though. Like, that's why they're like this. That's why they have all these, like, shrieking protests, and that's what the pussy hats are about, and that's why they're like, men need to... Like, all that shit is performative and would disappear the second they found a man they liked. All that shit is, like, performative. It's like, don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. I'm big and strong, don't hurt me. It's like making a bunch of noise so the bear doesn't attack you. But what they really want is for a man to put up with all their cantankerous bullshit and come in there and be like, no, it's okay. You're all right. You're fine. We're good. You don't have to be upset. And they'll be like, okay. And that's it. But because they're so fucking cantankerous and difficult to deal with, a lot of men are taking that at face value. I think that's what's fucking up a lot of these feminists. I've met a lot of these people in person. It's one of the advantages of being, a comedian with a reputation for misogyny is you meet just like every fucking feminist. You meet them, they all just want to yell at you in the parking lot. And you talk to them. And I didn't understand right away, but I think a lot of these women were actually like hitting on me in their own way. Like they were getting super confrontational. But they were hoping that I had the wit and the desire to tame them. I think they're desperate for taming, sort of like a taming of the shrew situation. I think a lot of women are just just absolutely shit desperate for that, and they without knowing it, and their behavior makes that impossible. It makes it so it's literally never going to happen because no man is ever going to take the time out of his day to deal with a woman who's just like cantankerous and ornery constantly, and every single thing is a fight. Like, I really enjoy disagreeable women. I do. I'll be honest with you. That's pretty much, it's pretty well documented. I enjoy disagreeable women, but I do not enjoy them in the feminist variety. Which just sucks, because I think one of the things that feminism has done is it's taken a lot of perfectly good disagreeable women off the market and made them undateable. I think that's why I'm hit the hardest by it. So I like a woman who has something to say. But just don't make what you say stupid. Don't make it a stupid thing that you're saying. Don't like that. It's not good. So, yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think I think a lot of the women now are, the feminist stuff is all like performative, like, don't hurt me bullshit, but it's all coming from a place of fear. So it's like, I think that's what it is like, don't take it personally. Just don't take it personally. And if you encounter a feminist, try to remember how scared she is, because that will make it easier to have compassion. And I think paradoxically, I know this is like not going to be popular with the audience, but I think paradoxically the way to deal with these people is with compassion. I don't think you can actually I don't think you can like fight them out of it. I don't think you can beat them into submission. I really don't. I mean, you can, it's just uglier that way. I don't think it's good. I think it's good to do. Yeah, I think it's way, way, way better if you just like let them kind of like fire hose you with negativity, and then you just be like, all right, that was fun. Yeah, it's been rad. Yeah, no, this has been sick. Oh, cool. We got some people here. That's nice. This has been a lot of fun, folks. Doing good. Let's see. I don't know, what do you guys want to talk about? I have a couple more things I want to get through here. I'm not I don't know what the solution is, by the way. I'm just like, that's not my job. My job is to point out how fucked up everything is. That's my job. So you go to somebody else if you want the solution. I actually think the only thing people can do on like a day-to-day basis is focus on what is right in front of you. I really think that's it. You could just like, that's why I focus so much on individual face-to-face interactions, stuff like that, because that's the only thing most people have any influence over. I don't participate in the discourse. Like, a lot of guys are, they bitch about like family law or like divorce court or whatever and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, cool. But like, most people can't reasonably affect any kind of systemic change at all. The only things most people can control over is the stuff they do in their immediate vicinity. Like, you can kind of control things in your immediate sphere. There's the stuff that's like 10 feet in front of you. That's the stuff you should focus on. And your relationships will get a lot better once you realize what is going on with women and how they've been psyoped. The other thing is like how you've been psyoped. That's the other thing too. I think, this affects me too. Like, it's not just the women you meet that affect your perception of women. It's the women you see on the phone. So when the TikTok is showing you a bunch of shorts of women who are like talking shit about men and just shrieking at the camera and saying men are like chopped and useless and ugly, but also master manipulators and are destroying society and have seized control of society with the express purpose of subjugating women, and they're bad and they're racist, misogynistic, homophobic. What's weird about it is that like men are simultaneously like retarded and useless and not good for anything and don't have emotional intelligence and are incompetent and useless, or women are better at everything. And also somehow they're evil geniuses and master manipulators who have structured society to oppress women. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know how we're both retarded, and just like a woman is simultaneously. Women are not retarded. Women are not all retarded. Many women are not retarded. It's not where I was going with that. Some women are not retarded. I want to be clear. That's the official position of the show. I'm sticking with that. But in the feminist narrative, a woman is, at the same time, she's a victim, but she's also empowered. But she's also an innocent victim who isn't really responsible for her actions and is just like completely free of any agency, and bad things affect her and bad things happen to her. She's a person who's just put upon and hurt, right? But then you've also got the opposite narrative, which is true at the same time, that she's a strong, empowered girl boss who's actually better at men than everything. And like every like month or so, you'll get an article that comes out that's like, history shows women actually better than men. And it's just like, oh yes, it's true. And they'll get some like expert from some like ideologically captured fields that like anthropology is like gay race communism, communication studies is gay race communism. A lot of history is doing okay, but there's a lot of history that's been turned into gay race communism. Any kind of critical literature studies is gay race communism, and you can get whole majors in gay race communism. That's what, like, you know, African American studies degrees, women's studies degrees, gender studies degrees. Gender studies is the worst one, but all of the ethnic studies departments are just gay race communism. So they'll get some like gay race communist out there with an advanced degree, and it's like, oh, an advanced degree, this person must be a serious intellectual. And then they get out there and they're like, women actually better than men, studies show. And it's like, oh, wow. And then women will be like, I knew it. Yes, I always knew that. And it basically, the purpose of it is just to, I don't know if it's just like to gas up women to the point of delusion, or if it's to demoralize men, or, you know, what the point of it is. I had this reaction the other day. I realized I don't feel like when I see like stories about, you know, bad things, you know, men experiencing bad life outcomes, women most affected, like that kind of stuff used to bother me. Like, women can't get married because there's not enough, you know, economically attractive partners in the market. It's like, yeah, because you took all the jobs. That's what happens. That's what happens. You took all the college degrees and all the jobs. That's what happens. And you didn't do it because like women are like unlocked all their magical unicorn, you know, powers through the power of friendship. That wasn't what happened. No, what happened was the government put a thumb on the scale at every level of society. We've known about this problem for at least 30 years. Because that was when Christina Hoff Sommers published The War on Boys, was like about 30 years ago. So we've known, she was doing talk show appearances about it. So we've on TV where people were watching. So like we've known about this problem for at least 30 years. And now when all those 30-year-olds are trying to get married, it's like, ugh, gross. Now I got to marry a poor. Ugh. By the way, all the women who are saying that will have their jobs eliminated by large language models. Like ChatGPT is coming for those jobs. Don't you worry. Like that will be part of the mass fire. It's like, that's not, that kind of, unfortunately, that kind of delusional hubris is not sustainable. It's also, this is something too, and this is at the risk of letting women off the hook again, which is like a kind of a recurring pattern with me. It's been pointed out. It's not women's fault that their beliefs don't align with reality, because people are literally lying to them every single second of every single day about what reality is. So that's why. That's why their beliefs don't match reality, is because they're being lied to every single second of every single day about what reality is. So they don't have a relationship with reality. They interface with reality through the compute, through the laptop, through the phone. They don't have a relationship with the harshness of reality the same way that men do. Which, and by the way, that's kind of like the point of a society point of a society is to keep the safety and comfort of women and children. That's why we build the walls in the first fucking place. But like the difference historically was that a lot of these things that the government is doing for women now were things that husbands would do for them. So when you decouple husbands from women's economic prospects, you do a couple of things. One, women are a lot more selfish with the resources they acquire than men are. Like men acquire resources and they think, oh my God, I can't wait to give all of this to a family. You know, I would live in a van if women would fuck me in a van. I have an apartment because of social appearances. I would live in a van. I don't give a shit. I may end up living in a van. We may go there. We'll see. But yeah, like men do stuff for women. And also, in order to get men to participate in society and to harness their productive labor, a great way to motivate them to do that and do the hard work that's necessary to keep the gears turning is to give them a woman and children of their own to take care of, because they get really psyched about that. And then if that woman shows them gratitude, it's like, you know, gas in the tank for them. Whereas women don't function that way. Like when a man makes money, he's like, oh, great, I can buy a house and cars and whatever for a family. That's awesome. When a woman gets money, she's like, great, I can buy shoes. And not only that, they kind of hate using their resources on men. They kind of hate it. They kind of resent it. It turns out. Yeah, they don't love it. It's not their favorite thing. Just paying for men. Not their favorite thing. Whereas men love it. And they get resentful about, like, this is where the whole, like, weaponized incompetence discourse comes from. And the whole, no, like, I need you to do more. I need you to do more household chores because you have weaponized incompetence and you're being stupid on purpose. Oh, hey, what's up, Mindy? What's up, girl? How you doing? We're just talking about weaponized incompetence for a bit. It's just like a beta. Anytime you hear somebody say weaponized incompetence, tell them to shut the fuck up. Because if they're, and here's the thing. It's like, it's a real phenomenon, but nobody is using it correctly. So it doesn't matter. That's just anti-male propaganda. And you should tell them that to their face. And you should tell them forcefully, and you should use an expletive, assuming you're not at work. Because that does work. I did that at a party one time. It was a gay man talking about, oh, well, you've never heard of that term before? Okay, Mindy, this is what I'll tell you. So the discourse is basically men are bad at house chores on purpose so they don't have to do them. And this is something that, like, women talk about online, where they're talking about how Mindy, by the way, shout out to the 4%. Shout out to the 4%. We love you guys. That's, by the way, 4% of my audience is female. And every single woman in my chat is like, I don't fuck with other bitches. For a long time, I thought you guys were just bad at making friends. I thought that's what that was. I didn't understand. Because I thought you guys hanging out with your friends was like me hanging out with my friends. Like when I go and hang out with my friends, it's the best thing ever. It fills me with joy and happiness. And then I leave and I can't wait to do it again. And it's the best thing. And I'm like, why can't you just do that? It's like, I can't. My friend is also my worst enemy. She thinks I don't know, but I'm onto her. And I'm like, well, why are you guys still hanging out? Well, I can't let her win. Just don't do that. But you can't. You can't. You guys can't. You can't help it. That's just how you are. And it's just me. I have to make peace with that. Like me, I was telling the girl with bangs to accept reality earlier. That's another thing. I just have to accept reality because my argument is don't do that. Just don't be upset about that thing. Just why does that matter at all? But it matters to you guys, and I just have to accept it. So weaponized incompetence. We got to get back to that. So this is this thing it's this discourse among, women. I see it a lot in shorts online. It's women talking about how men are basically bad at house chores on purpose because they don't want to do them. And what bad at house chores or doing a house chore wrong is like doing it different than the way she would do it. But a lot of times it still gets done. But it's different than the way she would do it. It's not less effective. The chore gets done, but it gets done in a way that's different. Like the biggest one is fucking decorative towels. Like women are really keyed up about that. There's a lot of decorative towel discourse. Fuck, I had a video for this. A lot of this stuff, I just got to get better at like having the videos ready to bring up. I don't always know what I'm going to talk about. That's the issue when I do these things. I don't plan it out. It's just whatever comes to mind. So So the decorative towel discourse is, especially if they're like seasonal, like it's special like Halloween towels or whatever. Women will like hang them up and then men will like actually use them and then just fucking throw them on the counter like we would with any other fucking towel. And it's like, no, this towel's for looking at, not for using. And you have to fold it the right way so that you can see the design the way that I wanted it to be. Or the dishwasher getting loaded in a way that's like slightly inefficient but still gets the job done. Like men tend to just like throw shit in there and stack it. And some women find that annoying. I don't know why anyone gives a shit. But yeah, but this is used as evidence. If he wanted to, he would, which means if your husband really loved you, he would read your mind and do exactly what you told him to. And that's not real life. This is just what this is just differences between men and women that are being exaggerated into some kind of like pathology. Like, is he mad at me? Here, divorce him. So much of that. Anyway, hold on. Nah, women are scientifically proven to be better at cleaning. True. Clutter and mess triggers stress, cortisol in us, and we have to live in a cleanliness to feel happiness. Men lack this biological response. This is true. This is a temperament thing. So women in general tend to be a little bit more orderly than men. They crave cleanliness in a way that men don't. And like as a dude, I can say I feel cluttered and claustrophobic with if I had one tchotchke in my room, I would be like, that's too much. And some women fucking love, tchotchke, knick-knack. I don't know, whatever. Just like dumb little shit, like Funko Pops or like millennials tchotchke, I think. Before that, they had like little like baby angels or whatever. You ever go to an old woman's house and there's just like shit tons of like Santa figurines or baby angels or whatever, and the whole house is just chock full of them? Because she's gathered. That's what she likes. This is how Target stays open. Is they sell dumb little knickknacks and bullshit to unsuspecting women. Like women, like we dog women for this, but it's actually predatory. Women will go into a Target and they'll just be accosted with cheap, vaguely cute knickknacks. The second they go through the door, they're like, that's cute, that's cute, that's cute, that's cute, that's cute, that's cute. And they black out and they walk out of there spending $200. They go from cute knickknacks to cute clothes, women's clothes right in the front, right? There's like everything, every like thing that you might want, that's cute, and just like impulse buy. And then it's not even really their fault. They can't help it. It's like that whole thing is like psychologically primed to rip women off. You got to go in there with like blinders on. Or a husband. That's the other thing. And what's crazy is they put the Starbucks right in the front. Because, I'm going shopping, I need a little treat. So you could get it on the way out after the register, or you could get it right at the beginning. Because what do you need, when you're going into a shopping center and you're about to get the dopamine rush of buying stupid bullshit, you need a caffeine rush to elevate your heart rate and amplify everything that you're feeling and throw you into a frenzied state of anxiety. So you need like 7 iced coffees. Yeah, the whole thing is a fucking racket. Anyway, I was getting on weaponized incompetence, but yeah, so that's made up. It's just this made up thing. We used to just understand that like men did. Like, okay, here's the thing. This is what it is. You can show me how you want it done, and I will try to do it to your specifications, but you can't make it bother me the way it bothers you. And this is what Mindy was saying. Hold on, I have to get Mindy had a really good comment. Oh fuck, there's a lot of comments now. There we go. This one. Nah, women are scientifically better, stress, cortisol, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're stressed out that it's messy, and I'm not. I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm thinking about other shit. You're not. That doesn't mean that I hate you. I think that's the jump women make. They're like, he doesn't care as much about how clean the house is, therefore he doesn't care about me, therefore he hates me. And this is something I say all the time. People don't give me enough credit for this, but I say this all the time. Relationships live and die with a woman's inner monologue. Like, you don't understand what's going on in there. Like, relationships live and die with a woman's inner monologue. A lot of the arguments you guys are having only exist in her brain, where the version of you that exists is not your ally. That's the version of you that cheats on her in dreams. That's you. That's who's defending you in her brain. I was seeing this girl one time, and we parted ways on what I thought was we were at a really good place. And then she got on a plane, and on the flight, the whole flight there, she was thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about this one joke that I said. And what did he mean by that? And she spun out, spun out, spun out, spun out, spun out. And then she had the whole time there. And then the whole flight back, spun out, spun out, spun out, spun out. And she was ready to rip my fucking head off when she got back. And we hadn't seen each other. And like, dude, I had no. And my response was like, okay, well, I didn't know that bothered you. I won't make jokes like that. The whole point of the joke is to make you laugh. If you don't enjoy the joke, then I don't have to make the joke. But it took a while. I had to unravel this whole like psychotic jumbled mess of convoluted reasons she was mad at me before we could get to the thing that like what was actually bothering her was she didn't like this joke I made about her. I think I said her okay, she said, oh, my sister used to work at such and such place, and it sounded like a strip club. So I was like, oh, it sounds like your sister was a stripper. And she's like, my sister wasn't a stripper. And I was like, oh, your sister's too ugly to be a stripper in Denver? That's rough. Which I thought was funny. She's like, there are no strip clubs in Denver. I was like, that's not true. Where do the Nuggets go when they win? Somewhere. Not to Applebee's. No, there's a strip club in Denver somewhere. You just don't know about it. And then we got to... She was really mad because she felt like I had called her sister ugly. I didn't say ugly. I said too ugly to be a stripper in Denver, which it would be rough. And she's not, by the way. Her sister could strip in Denver if she wanted to. For sure. There'd be a market. She's not too ugly. I was just riffing, and she didn't like it. And that's totally fair, by the way. Like, I can make jokes about other things. If you don't like jokes about that, I'll make jokes about other things. I'm actually really good at thinking of jokes. That's one of my selling points. Yeah, so no, that's fine. But like, she got all fucking spun up about this because she had time alone to think and nothing to distract her, and she couldn't talk to me about it. And she assumed that I was going to react really badly to it because the version of me that exists in her mind. So it's the same deal with like cleaning or whatever. She thinks like, oh, he didn't do this. Now, I'm not here to defend myself, but the version of me in her anxiety brain is like, yeah, that's right, bitch. I didn't load the fucking dishwasher correctly, and I did it wrong on purpose to fuck with you. Because you're not busy and stressed out enough of it is. You know what? You being stressed out gets me off. I love it when I get to be lazy, a lazy layabout who does nothing and puts all of the emotional and mental load on you. I love that. And I think I'm going to come home and have sex with you after this. Oh, wait, hold on. Am I frozen? No, we're back. Okay. Damn it. That was a really good bit. Ah, fuck. I was having fun with that. I was cooking. What up, y'all? Been creeping, playing some Thug. I don't know what that means, but I'm happy you're here, Evelie Music. Been hit by the dishwasher one, but it's not because she's a woman. It's because she's half German. No, that's true. Oh, man, that German efficiency. Yeah, that's right. Very efficient people. That's right. German efficiency is fucking killer. That's their... Wait, hold on. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too many positive things about German efficiency, given the current climate. I just could see that being clipped and used against me later. Talking about their automobiles, not necessarily their war machine. What's up, everybody? Vagabond's back. What's up? Remember to... Hey, dude, hope you're good. I am good. Thanks for asking, bro. Much love, Full Metal Nate in the chat. Gal, what's up, Gal? Looks like she was talking to a coworker. Good for you. That's what I do. That's why I picked this time slot. So my goal, I want the show. You're absolutely right. This is my favorite comment. More of you should say things like this. Anyway, but that's... I love when she gets a Starbucks and buys knickknacks. It's cute when they do that stuff. That's the other thing, too. Okay, I do want to drill down on this. This is important because I think women... Okay. This is a sex difference that we run into a lot. With men, just because we make fun of you doesn't mean we don't like you. That's really important. Actually, that is what we do with stuff we like. Look at how we talk to each other. The guys I love the most in the world, I call them homophobic slurs at least 2-3 times a week. And that's the people I like the most in the world. So if we're making fun of you, a lot of times, if you want to make fun of somebody, you got to like pay attention to their behavior and watch them a lot, which I wouldn't do if I didn't like you. If I didn't like you, I just wouldn't fuck with you. I wouldn't make jokes about you if I didn't like you. I would just not fuck with you. I'm only going to make jokes about you if I like you. And that's how a lot of men are. Like, we don't hate you. This idea that like men hate women is completely made up by feminists because they're projecting. Everything the left says that you're doing, they're doing. So the feminists say, it's not women, this is the psycho feminists screaming into the phone, not women. So when they say men hate women, that's why I'm like this. It's like, no, you hate men. That's what's going on. We don't hate you. And making jokes about your knickknacks and your silly, now you actually can't go into Target without getting shit, or go into Starbucks. It's like, oh, it's cute. Look, it's a cookie, but it's shaped like a puppy. I got it. It's like, did you want it? It's like, no, I don't want to eat it. It's cute. So we just have a slowly decaying piece of sugar wrapped in plastic. Was this like a mandatory purchase? Did we need this? It's like, no, but she feels like we did. So this is like the continuing throw pillows discourse, which has been going on this show. It's the same deal. Like, I would never own a fucking throw pillow if a woman didn't fucking make me buy one. But it's nice that you guys like things to be, and like not everything they buy is dumb bullshit. Like, scented candles are lit, actually. Scented candles are lit. So, like, not, and so if you just let them kind of do, it's just part of how they are. It's like we're horny, dumb animals who like to yell at football games. Same deal. Like, to them, that's mysterious. They don't understand why we like to do that. And it'd be hard to explain to them because it's like, it's like, I don't have like, I go into Target, I walk right by the knickknacks. I have no interest in buying them, but it's not for me. So anyway, women have more firing in her brain all the time. So one thought will trigger 36 more thoughts, essentially. LOL. Takes maturity to control it. Some women never learn how. This is actually a really good point. Yeah, that's, I think, what a lot of guys have a hard time understanding is, so one thought leads to the next thought, which leads to what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that, and each what if is making it worse. And every bad thing she thinks of that could happen, she has an emotional response to that. And remember, fellas, her emotions are not the same as your emotions. Like, men, we have one emotion really strongly that kind of goes to the surface, and we can go kind of one at a time, and we'll kind of move through them sequentially. And if we don't know what emotion to feel, we'll just kind of shift into angry and ride it out until we're done, right? Women can feel multiple emotions very strongly, even emotions that conflict with each other, at the same time, and it can go all over the place. And like Mindy's saying, like, women, the women in the Touchgrass audience, I've noticed this show tends to track a lot of independent thinkers. So the women who watch my show are pretty bright and independent thinkers, and those women, they learn how to control it. They learn to have some discipline. But a lot of these women you're seeing, because they're so emotionally immature, because they've been coddled, they don't have any ability to regulate their emotions. So they just think their emotions are correct. Remember, this is the feelings or facts generation. So a lot of people took all feelings are valid, which is a valid concept, and made it to all feelings are correct about how the world works. That's not the same thing. So a lot of these women, they're not controlling their emotions, and they think their emotions are correct. And the left plays into this because remember what we always say with the left, they don't care about logic. They don't care about what's true. They care about what emotionally feels good right now, and they care about winning. So that's a huge problem is if you've got, that's why, especially you've got young women who are not necessarily mature because they've been to college, they've been coddled, and you're telling them your emotions are correct about reality. What you're doing, and because is you're creating a voting block where if you make them really scared, you make them have a big volatile emotional reaction. Now you can get them to all kind of vote as a herd for the thing that you like. And we got data from this, from the elections. We see the data, and it's like almost every single young woman who voted on the issue of abortion rights. Like, that was like the main animating thing for them, because that's really mimetic and easy to transfer through a short video. And that's all connected to like fear and disgust, and the framing of Republicans as like sex pests, right? So who are like a little too interested, in women's issues. And that's intentional. They're trying to make these emotionally immature people very, very, very afraid so that they can influence their behavior, so that they can get them to do stuff that serves their interests. That's with the left. That's their whole bag. And if you understand kind of what women's internal world is like and why it differs from you, well, I didn't understand this until I did. So you guys remember when I did that show where I was reading about the porn books and I read a bunch of porn books for women, and in preparation for that show. And what blew me away about that was how much of the book I thought, because I read books by and for men mostly. So those books are about doing stuff in the world. And so I expected a lot more of that. There were no plot events in these books. The whole book is about the woman's emotional experience in the moment and how the emotions feel in her body. And then like one thing will happen and then it'll be like pages and pages and pages about emotion. It'll just be a man and a woman like talking to each other and she's trying to hold back tears. And that's the whole thing. And it's like, I'm getting nothing out of this. Because I can't like sync up to this woman, this female main character emotionally, but apparently that's what their world is like. It's just emotions all over the place all the time. So that's why, I think a lot of guys get fucked up when they argue with women because you try to keep up with them emotionally and try to match their emotional wavelength. And or you're like, stop doing that. Literally all you have to do is stay calm and wait for her to be done talking. That's it. You don't have to say anything. Just wait for her to be done talking. Then you'll find out what the actual problem is. And usually the actual problem is either fixable, you just do it, or it's just reality is upsetting sometimes. And she just needs to say it out loud and get it over with. Sometimes she's just hungry. But it's thought leads to thought, leads to thought, leads to thought, leads to thought, and every thought has an emotional response to it. And then it's bwomp, 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 and they magnify each other. Until it's like, crisis. I think a lot of these women, I think one of the reasons women are so fucked up and hysterical and difficult to be around right now is because so many of them don't have husbands. Because like the point of you as a guy is to be emotional. You're the emotionally neutral baseline. So she's like all over the place, right? And you're kind of the baseline going through the middle while she's doing this. And then if she's like really spinning out, then she can touch base with you and be like, hey, is this reality or am I too upset? And then you can be like, have you eaten today? Do you want water? Would you like a taco? A lot of divorces have been avoided by a well-timed taco. We don't even know that. That's true. We don't have data on that. It's the kind of science we do around here at Theocracy. Let's see. Who else am I? Ahoy. It's okay. Go through the chat. Spot on. Love that. Yeah, but now it has sentimental value. We needed it. Yeah. It's like the pillow situation. That's one too far. That directly affects my everyday life. Yeah, a lot of people. I'm trying to get a discourse going on throw pillows. I like gingerbread or pumpkin spice candles during the winter. See, yeah, and it's honestly helpful for odor control. So if you're an adult man, not everything around you smells good all the time. Just being real. That's like on our wedding registry, we asked for towels, and she said, how many should we ask for? And I said, 2. And there's 2 of us. And I got laughed at by all the women everywhere. And the dudes are like, yep, I agree. 2 seems like too many. You're on point. See, that's nice. Yep, I call it walking around the spaghetti dish. She's got noodles and sauce all mess on that plate. Walk around the edge. Tread carefully, LOL. Yeah, for real. The point of all this extra activity in our brain is to be able to multitask and mother. Yes, that's actually really good point. So it's like, that's the other thing too, is that women are not being crazy on purpose to piss you off. That was something that I had to learn as a guy. That really fucked me up for a long time, is I thought women were just being crazy on purpose to piss me off. And that's not true. Like, they're like that for a reason. It's just when you got a bunch of kids going everywhere and kids have kind of like uninhibited emotions too. They don't have any emotional control. So they're all over the place. You got to be able to understand where they're coming from. I've noticed that even like talking to my mom, like she's able to like immediately map on how other people are feeling in a situation in a way that I struggle with. I mostly don't consider other people's feelings ever unless it's put right in front of me, unless somebody like explains to me why I should. Which is a huge, just like, because I'm, it mostly doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't, But it does, though, actually, for community cohesion and maintaining relationships and maintaining the health and well-being and emotional resilience of a family. Stuff like that does matter, and women are a little bit better at paying attention to that. And that's why, by the way, that's why if you take them and put them in high-power jobs, it burns them out and makes them frazzled and tired, and they don't like it. And that's why families go to shit when you do that. It's not that women shouldn't do things. It's just women should do things that go with their skill set. And if you put them in an environment where they have to compete and be in a state of like constant abrasive hostility in order to, succeed, then that's going to have adverse impacts on their ability to do the stuff that they're supposed to be doing. And if nobody's doing that, then you're going to see what happens right now. What's happening to our society now, where people are more disconnected than they've ever been. They're more isolated than they've ever been. Children are being raised in daycare, not with their native families. And downstream of that, you have a bunch of people. Suddenly, we have a bunch of adults who are emotionally really not that well adjusted, not that emotionally mature. They have no ability to handle conflict. They have, they can't really tolerate adversity. They're really bad at evaluating risk. This is the thing. Do you guys remember earlier we were talking about actually, I'll just bring that back up. This one. So I got more people watching now. This one. This was British cops wore jogging outfits to elicit catcalls and then arrested some men who hit on them. Oh, I forgot they actually arrested people. That's crazy. Yeah, anyways, so mids getting catcalled is apparently the biggest problem Britain is dealing with right now. This was kind of where I was like, this is the kind of like psychotic HR department behavior that makes people completely unwilling to tolerate risk, because it blows something completely out of proportion to it makes it a way bigger thing than it is. Like catcalling is like not awesome, but it's not a law enforcement priority, right? And so that's something that you're probably going to experience and probably just going to have to walk it off, and that's just kind of how it is. And you shouldn't do it, but people are going to do things they shouldn't do. So you guys got to keep it pushing. And also, like, I think with men's inability to evaluate risk because of stuff like this, men think that approaching women and potentially starting relationships with them is way more costly and dangerous than it actually is. It's actually, so a lot of the young men I talk to are completely unable to evaluate risk, and they think they're going to get like, beaten up and thrown in jail if they speak to a woman at a Starbucks. And I always tell them, I was like, well, you're not evaluating risk well. You've just, but then I look at this and it's like, yeah, okay. I get where they might have gotten that idea. I understand how that might have been conveyed to them. And it's this idea that I think the idea is to just to create a completely bubble wrapped society where nobody ever skins their knee. And it's like, that's not realistic. And in fact, it's not desirable. Skinning your knee is part of what makes life worth living. And I think what the reason society is doing this is because we're listening to that hysterical side of women that has a thought to a thought to a thought to a thought and ramps them up and makes them feel super fearful. So we've deliberately created an environment where that fear is amplified. And so a lot of women are feeling a lot of fear, and that's why they're acting so crazy. And that's why they're asking for social safety measures that do not make sense and have obvious authoritarian implications. That's, or at least obvious to us in the audience. This is the same thing that was going on with, like, they want to put age verification. This is in the UK also. They want to put age verification on fucking everything to do with the internet. And they're like, give us all your government IDs. And the government actually can't guarantee safety, but they're capitalizing on the paranoia of the population to harvest a bunch of data from you guys for free, or identification data for free. So that's a huge privacy implications of that. But the reason they can do that is because they made everybody afraid on purpose. And the way you can get a lot of afraid people to vote based on fear is to keep all the women single, keep everybody isolated, make sure they don't have kids, and then, use propaganda to make them afraid. And what's crazy is we're addicted to the propaganda. It's like on the phone and you're addicted to it. So you're addicted to the thing that lies to you. That's crazy. That's a great setup. Like the Soviet Union would have killed for that. That's crazy. And it's all the time too. People spend all fucking day on that thing. I know I do. I'm shit blasting my eyes with by staring at screen. I need to go outside more. I need to touch grass. Brand conformity. Yeah. All right, where are we at? A woman's natural skill set makes for great logistics analysis, risk analysis, also part of mothering. Women tend to be better at assessing risk, whereas men take more risks. Okay, sometimes, okay, but when Han Solo says, never tell me the odds, sometimes you have to do things even though they're risky. And I think what women see a risk and they're like, we shouldn't do that. And I think men see a risk and they're like, I bet I could do that. And sometimes women are right, sometimes men are right, but you need both. Sometimes women are right, you shouldn't do that. Sometimes men take unnecessary risks, but sometimes women stop men from taking necessary risks. That's what overmothering is, and we've got a lot of that. That's kind of like the mother-father dynamic. That's why it's important. It's like dad needs to push kid to take more risks, even if he gets hurt. And sometimes, and I think what happens a lot is that like mom will be like, hey, stop. No, I don't want him to do that. He's afraid. And it's like, no, but we need him to do that or he won't turn into a man. He's going to be a weepy little soy boy for the rest of his life. And that's what we got. That's why we got so much of that. It's okay. Women also like that men are risky. It can be attractive, just like everything in moderation. Bingo. This is actually why men and women need each other. Because I think I could do everything, but I'm wrong probably 25% of the time. It's helpful to have a second set of eyes who's a little more risk concerned than me. That's actually useful. What the hell are decorative towels? That's the things you just use to clean up an oil spill in your garage. That was a decorative towel. Sweet. Yeah, no. It's rad though. The fact that like that's the other thing too is like men and women are not different by accident. In fact, like the whole like men and women are the same discourse is so retarded because like why would there be two things? Why would there be two if they were just two of the same thing? Why would there be two if there were two of the same thing? Does anybody like stop to think about that? Just like at a basic, just apply a little bit of Socratic logic to the feminist reasoning system. Like, if men and women are the same, why are there two of them? And we know they're not the same because the women have the babies and the men, they got the turkey baster. So we know they're not the same. And we can like try to obfuscate that with like word games and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we know. We know they're not. We know they're not. It's like it's right there. It's like right there. It's like I do think this is something I've noticed. It's really hard to convince a woman to be a feminist if she has a good dad. Because women are very personal in the way that they make sense of the world. So if you tell her like men are no good, she's going to be like, "Nuh-uh, I see one right there." And then if she has a good dad, there's a much higher chance that she's going to find a good husband. And then if she's got a good husband and you try to tell her men ain't no good, she's going to be like, "Nuh-uh, I see one right there." And then you can't convince her because it's right there in front of her. The only way you can get as many women as you have to become like not just like feminists, but like rabid man-hating feminists in a way that was like not that common. Even like 10 years ago, it was not nearly as common as it is now. And there were like so 10 years ago, I would have been kind of getting out of college and making my way in the world. And at that time, like most women were pretty normal. Like they had maybe some like dumb, generic, poorly formed ideas about equality and maybe didn't have a good sense of how relationships works. And everybody was doing hookup culture at that time, which is a part of feminist brainwashing. But it wasn't like the hostile, like man hatred, women's rights, fuck the patriarchy, that would have been very unusual. That was very few women who were like that. And those were like the Tumblr feminists. And if you met one at a party, you'd just be like, ooh, you seem great. Now, I fought with them on purpose still. Even then, I was fighting with them. But I knew who the girls I was going to fight with were when I was like in college and stuff. Like, I knew which girls I was going to fight with. I knew who was going to have a problem with the things I was saying. But like, most women were totally normal. And they were like, I'd like to be treated like a person, but I'm not, I don't hate men. And that was it. Like, the amount of like obscene, psychotic anti-male sentiment is relatively novel. And that's, I think, downstream of deliberate brainwashing and deliberate efforts to fuck up family units and get people away from their fathers and get people to stop depending on fathers and husbands and depend more on the government. That's the model, it seems like. And then raise them in daycare and raise them in public schools and then tell them that their ancestors were like evil slave masters who were like bad and evil and bad, and that their whole country exists because of things they should be ashamed of, which is like, again, you can only believe that if you're historically illiterate. That's the thing. All this stuff, like every like leftist belief about reality, all their claims about history, all their claims about how sex and gender work, all their claims about how societies operate, their claims about human nature, their claims about the economy, their claims about government, all of that depends on you just like not having ever read any history or knowing anything about people. All that depends on you remaining functionally illiterate. So the schools have to be terrible or you won't be a leftist. if they don't deliberately indoctrinate you with leftist bullshit and you just start looking around at reality and they let you go try stuff, then you're going to find out that like not what they're saying is not true. It just does not fit with reality. It doesn't. This is why it thrives on college campuses, because college campuses are the maximally adult daycares. They are the most coddled places on planet Earth. They're just like islands of lotus eaters. There's a bunch of people come to live out. It's like a day camp for adults to go and live out an extended adolescence and just like, drink and fuck and do drugs and stuff. I mean, yeah, there are, and there's also indoctrination classes, but that's not why people go for the drinking and fuck. It's like that fucking island where Pinocchio turns into a fucking donkey. It's like that. It's Pleasure Island. And what's weird is like, oh, degeneracy, something like that, but all the indoctrination makes you be like, yeah, I guess I don't need Christian conservative values. I guess those are really restrictive. I guess I should do whatever I feel like I want to do. And then you can go and act that out on the weekend. Whatever the fuck you want to do. And look, young people have fun, but like, let's be honest. Do we really feel like college is creating a bunch of like well-adjusted, emotionally mature adults that are ready to confront the challenges of the 21st century? Do we feel like that's what college is doing? I don't. I have a lot of education, and I'm not saying I didn't benefit from it, but a weirdly high percentage of it was indoctrination. So that's kind of we can see the downstream consequences of that. We sent a bunch of people to college, and we told them that made them better than everybody else. And then we made them be baristas. And while they were in college, we taught them a bunch of Marxism. And by the way, Marxism it doesn't work on poor people. It works on people who are somewhere in the middle who really resent the rich. That's who Marxism works on. So we took a bunch of people, we told them they were better than everybody else, and then we made them be poor and do menial jobs that they think are beneath them. And we told them a bunch of ideas about class resentment and how they should hate the poor and how if they should rebel if they feel like things aren't fair. the other thing too is like the heart of Marxism is resentment. It's like I should have more. You don't deserve what you have, and I deserve more. I don't deserve an opportunity to create my own. I just get some of what you have. I just get to put my hand in your bucket. You know, it's just resentment, and I can't think of a better way to create a bunch of resentful people than to send them to college and give them the time of their life and tell them they're better than everybody and that this is what adulthood is now, and then go make them be a barista. That's how you create a bunch of class resentment. And then you just get them super mad and afraid and economically insecure, and then you convince them that voting for Democrats is the solution, and then there you go. There you go, and you could get that. The problem I think they fucked up is that they went overboard with the trans thing, and now they're not having babies. So you live and you learn, but that's like a bad strategy long term. So it's not going to work for them. I think the left is cooked. That's why Gen Z and Gen Alpha are so based. Gen Alpha especially, like they're fucking done. Like they're cooked. Racism is back. Like they don't support the gays. Yeah, God. It was, man. It was, man. But now they're cringe. Now, like, it's the millennials that are the professors, and they're cringe. And no one thinks that what they have to say is, like, cool or interesting anymore. And, like, the you have to be nice to gay people is not, like, the edgy position. That's, like, the establishment position. So it's getting rolled back. And it sucks because there's a bunch of gay people who didn't do anything. And they're getting kind of, like, roped into this because they just wildly overplayed their hand, and they were with the trans thing and the drag queen story hour and all that stuff, and they started like messing with kids and being like, we should have porn books in school libraries. It's like, that's not good. Probably don't do that. And then that's the kind of shit people understand, like when that dude beat the shit out of that little Italian girl in the Olympics. You guys remember that? Like, homie pulled up with the Adam's apple and was like, I am a woman, and we were like, press X to doubt. And then he just popped that Italian girl once, and she was like, I'm done. Just hit the factory reset on her. Kind of woke up that ancestral pain. It's like, oh shit, this is how grandpa used to end arguments. I better go make some spaghetti. Shit's over. Oh, that was mean. But I'm saying, though, like, people saw that and they didn't like it. It was bad. They felt bad for her. And then they trotted her out there at the press conference. I forget what she said, but she was just like, hey, I'm not trying to be a hater on anybody. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. I wish what's her name the best, whatever. She's a woman if she says she is, whatever. But, like, people saw that. They didn't like that, and they associated that with Democrats. And it's all downstream of this, like, coddling, and everybody gets to be what they want to be, and there's no rules for anybody. It's like you can't build a sustainable world out of that. And if you need an environment where people have predictable social behavior so that you can interact with them and trust them a little bit. And one of the big reasons because of that is because of like women's uncontrollable anxiety wheel. That's why we have predictable social norms, by the way, especially around love and romance, is because women's like crazy anxiety wheel spins out of control, and it's completely unpredictable. And it's terrible at mate selection. Because, like, especially for young women, what triggers the anxiety wheel is just, like, big narcissistic risk-taking assholes who are not good long-term prospects. And so it's one of the reasons, like, that we don't put women's emotions in charge of mate selection. But for some reason, especially over the last 30 years, we've been using the media to be like, hey, you know what the most important thing in mate selection is? Emotions. How you feel about them emotionally right now in the short term. And big emotional roller coasters. That's the most important thing that decides whether or not. Like the fucking Notebook. Bro, the couple from the Notebook is not a good couple. I don't have time to get into this, but like, bro, she like fucking cheated on her like rich, emotionally stable fiance for the guy she used to like, her fucking toxic ex-boyfriend. Is that crazy? Don't think about like how many of like these movies that are targeted at women are just like, leave your husband for somebody who makes you have feelings. Like so many of them. Do you guys see that Netflix show Sex Life? Where she's got like the perfect hot husband and she's like, yeah, but remember your horsecock toxic ex? You should fuck both of them. That's what you should do. Obviously like Sex and the City is the worst one, but like, or like Titanic. she's got a whole like family lineage, and she's on her deathbed fantasizing about this hobo she fucked on a boat one time and then let him die. That's what she's thinking about. It's like look, who like gets your emotions stirred up is not necessarily, that's not necessarily going to lead to like good long-term relationship outcomes. It's useful to know as a guy that women put that much emphasis on their emotions, though, in terms of their decision making. It's useful. I think a lot of men approach women as if you can like reason with them, and I think that's completely stupid to even try. Don't even try that. Don't even try. You got to speak to them on like an emotional wavelength, and just try to get what you, if you want them to, you know, do something that's like, especially in their best interests, it's got to feel good. And they also got to trust you. You got to trust them. And the only way you can get them to trust them is like just consistently doing what you say you're going to do over and over again and being trustworthy. Then eventually they'll get the hint, hopefully. But you got to speak to them on like an emotional level. You got to make it feel right. Because there's no, I think men go into it trying to reason with women, and that's just completely a bad strategy. Yeah. Most romance are predicated on cheating. I have noticed that. Yeah, indeed. Trust is huge. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's been the big casualty of going back to the girl bitching about patriarchy near the beginning of the show. I think the big casualty is trust between men and women. Because men, it's always been the situation that like men are like bigger and stronger and run things and have to enforce all the rights and have to enforce all the rules, because at the end of the day, like force is where the buck stops. That's all, but that's always been like that. It wouldn't be as upsetting if women felt like men were trustworthy, and the disrupting of the trust was intentional. That wasn't accidental. That was intentional to try to pit us against each other so that you could create a voting block that was manipulable. Remember, everything comes down to childbearing. If we can't trust you, we think you won't be a father worthy and take care of us in our most vulnerable moments. Childbearing. That's true. It's not just that. It's just like, it's also, it's not, because guys who are trustworthy, it's not just that they'll abandon you. That's not even the worst. It's not even the worst thing men do. Like, really untrustworthy men are, you know, violent towards women and children. They're just awful. By the way, this is, I tell men all this all the time. That you get annoyed, like, a lot of times on dates or early in relationships, women will be annoying on purpose, and this frustrates men. And they know, and women can't help it. They're doing it, but they'll be annoying on purpose to see how you react. And they're like, why should she test me? It's like, because she needs to know if you have a bad temper, because if you have a bad temper, you're dangerous to be around. And you're going to be very dangerous to have kids around. Guys with bad tempers are dangerous for women and children, theoretically, right? So she's testing for that. And she has to, by the way. And that's her trying to figure out if you're safe or not. That's a necessary thing. And I know it's super annoying for us because we're like, just stop being difficult. But that's an opportunity for you to display how patient you're going to be. And also, women know in their heart of hearts, they can't help it. They are going to be annoying to us sometimes. They can't help it. It's not always going to be they're doing it on purpose. Sometimes it's going to be by accident because, like, they'll throw a hissy fit because the envelope doesn't match the card or whatever. And you just have to be like, yeah, that seems really hard. Yeah. And you're just like silently going to get them a taco. And you just put the taco in front of them and just wait for them to notice. Well, there's just snot running down their face. But you just wait till they realize they were just hungry the whole time. You just wait. And that's part of it. That's part of the joys. And again, I say this in genuine love and admiration. It's fun for us. Gives us something to do. It's good. It's good. And it makes us feel like the fucking champion of the world. Like, if you're able to take a woman's emotional upset and make it better, it makes you feel like the king of the world. And also, it's not as hard as you guys think. A lot of guys think. So the problem is, as soon as the woman starts talking, they start interrupting with solutions. And it's like, no, we haven't gotten to the problem yet. So she doesn't know what the problem yet is either. She knows she's upset, and she's just going to start spewing everything that could be the problem until eventually she lands on it. And then when she's done talking, she feels better, and then you can kind of assess the situation. So as a guy, just don't say anything. Let her be done. Let the fire hose empty out. And then once she's done, give her a taco and it's over. Taco and a forehead kiss and you're over. You did it and she feels better and everything's great. And she feels way more attached to you now that you did that. So it's not just that you feel like the king of the world. Like she sees you as way, way, way more of a cool dude that she did before. Like she likes you a lot more if you're able to do that. And literally all you have to do is just stand there and not freak out. It's so easy. It's so easy. A lot of men, they get nervous and they just shit their pants and like, let me fix it. They shit their pants and they freak out and they don't understand how little they actually have to do. Literally, you just need to stand there and receive the information. And then you just be like, it's just like, this is what you do. It's just like, wow, I'm really sorry you're going through that. That sounds really hard. And then give them like some pasta or a taco or some chicken wings or whatever. Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, sometimes the point is not to solve the problem. Sometimes the point was just to vent the emotional frustration about the problem out loud into the ether. And they just needed to get it out, and now it's done. And it's like, and that's it. Sometimes that just needed to happen. And if you can receive that and not freak out and not try to intervene excessively, then that's where trust comes from. If you do that a few times, eventually she's going to trust you more than she trusts anyone else. If you can do that consistently, then she's going to trust you. And then if something's wrong, she's going to go to you first. And then when there is something you can actually fix, that's your time to shine. But she's got to trust you with problems first. And if you fuck up and try to just you interrupt her, and this is true even if her problem seems stupid to you. Because a lot of them will seem completely trivial and made up to you because we do not socialize the same way women do. And a lot of problems that they have, like, okay, I used this example on another stream, but if I go to a party and me and my buddy are wearing the same shirt, I'm like, hey, shirt guys, shirt buddies. They'll walk around the party the rest of the time. Same shirt. It's not like that if women wear the same outfit. That starts a sort of like a, it'll be like a tense, passive-aggressive competition going on between them for the rest of the social event. Each one will assume that the other one did it on purpose. It'll be, I'll begin the rest of social maneuvering, and then it'll... And what's crazy is because women, like, in some cultures, women do fist fight. Women should fist fight a lot more, I think. It would help you guys resolve some of this tension. But... because women don't fist fight, they can't get it out. So they just kind of like get in these blood feuds and they stay enemies forever. So, like, if you're talking to a woman and she really trusts you, periodically she'll just bring up a woman that she hates and talk shit about her. For no reason. She may not have interacted with this woman for years. She'll just be like, oh, remember that bitch Jennifer? I fucking hated Jennifer. She was such a, she liked stupid shit like that. God, I hated Jennifer. And she'll just talk just a bunch of mean shit about Jennifer so she doesn't get out of practice. You gotta understand, they have to be good at that because if they're not good at that, then they're going to be a victim for women that are good at it. That's like us going out to the garage and hitting the heavy bag, you know? You don't want to get out of practice, you know? That's cool. But no, I think women should duel for sure. Women should fist fight more. I think that would help. For real. And I know men would like it. I think the cultures where women fist fight more are more well-adjusted. I do think that. I'm dying on that hill. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you can squeeze in a suggestion to show your abilities, but pick your spots. That's exactly right. And this is what I'm saying is like a lot of this stuff that a lot of these things men and women complain about, like the ick and stuff like that, comes because we're engaging in stupid short-term relationship patterns right now. The kind of stuff that you're talking about here, knowing when to pick your spots, you get that from reps. You gotta talk to the same person a few different times, figure out, okay, this is the kind of support this person needs in a conflict or a crisis or whatever. You got to get to know the individual person. Like some of these general principles of like knowing when to make a suggestion, that's going to vary woman to woman. Some women are going to be very receptive to that, and some women are not. And it's going to depend. You got to pick your moments. So, and that I think having dumb short-term relationships is a great way to give yourself a generally bad opinion of the opposite sex. And I think getting to know one person really well can give you a really beautiful appreciation of the opposite sex. That's a really good, and that's, I think, what we're missing right now. That's why we got so many people, so many men who really don't like women, and so many women who really don't like men, it's about sample size and short-term exposure, and you're not really getting to know the weird idiosyncratic characteristics of an individual person. Like when women in general, go to Target and get entrapped into buying $200 worth of tchotchke, it's kind of like, ugh. But then when your woman does it, it's like, ah, you. Aw. It's kind of sweet when it's yours doing it. It's like when your cat does something that all cats do. It's like, ah. I love it that my cat did it. Same thing. And they feel the same way about us, by the way. Like when you do something men do, they like observing it too. And they also think it's funny. And they also make fun of it. But they're also much more likely to like Google it and be like, is this a sign that something's psychologically wrong with him? And then all their friends on TikTok will be like, divorce him. Boom, full circle. I think I've tied all the topics together so far. I'm kind of cooking here. I also don't like how men nowadays are making women into the devil. Everything you're doing here is awesome because there are methods to every madness. The genders are complementary when we understand. Yes, thank you. God, that's literally the entire point of this is literally the entire point of my pursuit of the creative enterprise, is to demonstrate that. That used to be what stand-up comedy was. If you watch stand-up comedy in the 90s, it was like a bunch of people who were mostly married, and guys like Tim Allen. Like Tim Allen's Home Improvement, the sitcom, is one of the most popular sitcoms of the 90s, is based on about 20 minutes of stand-up comedy he did for HBO. And if you go back and watch, it's like, he's talking about men are doing this and women are doing that, and everybody's laughing because everybody knows it's true, and we're all enjoying it. We're all having some humor about it, and we're getting on. And that family sitcom was about men and women being different, but still appreciating each other and learning to get along, and learning that even the stuff we find annoying about each other, a lot of times there's a reason why it is that way. A lot of times when men are annoying women, we're trying to love them, and the wires are getting crossed. It's the same way when women are being annoying to us. Like when women are, I complain about this all the time. Women kind of look at your apartment like a storage unit full of shit they can throw away later. They just want to get in there and just like move everything around and like fix everything and add a bunch of throw pillows. But they can't help. They're doing that on purpose because their job is to make your life more comfortable and comfier and smell better. And like make things pretty. That's what they do. They show up in places. They like crash land like a fucking space marine, and they just kick the door open and they start making things pretty. And if you think, and they actually can't help it. Like if you put a woman alone in a room and gave her no instructions, she would just start making the room pretty. That's what they do. And they actually can't help it. And that's kind of nice, actually. If you see that as what they're doing, instead of like, why are you being annoying? Then it's actually kind of beautiful. Or if it's like, why are you spending so much time on the game? Spend time with me. It's like, if you see that instead of her being annoying and trying to cramp your style, it's like, oh, she's doing this because she craves connection. And she craves that connection with me. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool to think about it that way. It's less annoying to think about it that way. But they get their sense of safety from social connections in a way that we don't. And we got to connect with the bros. We got to be a part of a team that's doing stuff in the world. Or this is why military service is so effective for so many men at creating camaraderie. We need to be part of a team that's doing stuff in the world, or we go crazy. And most men don't have that right now. We can't get the safety and comfort we need from just connection. And by the way, you won't feel comfortable and safe connecting with us unless we're oriented towards the world. People talk a lot about that Gomez Adams and Morticia Adams dynamic, where it's like an ugly little troll man who's just absolutely obsessed with a hot woman. That dynamic in real life is excruciating. The woman hates it. The man feels filled with resentment. The woman feels pressure. It's horrible. Like the relationship dynamic that works is man focused on mission and woman focused on connection. And that's great. And then if the woman feels like she's winning, then she's going to treat the man really good. And he's going to feel really good towards her because she's treating him good, so he's going to treat her good. And then you're in a feedback loop. And then, but then if you take the woman out of the home and be like, she needs to focus on connection, but she's going to be focused on connection with her fucking bitchy, passive-aggressive coworkers. Now she's just going to be, that's a recipe for her to be unhappy 100% of the time she's awake. Yeah, it's all of your focus on connection that should be focused on your family is going to be focused on your crazy, passive-aggressive, bitchy coworkers. And all of your softness is going to be used against you by people who want to destroy you. And you're going to have to turn all that off, and you're going to have to become embittered and have a scab over your sensitive parts so that you can compete in the ruthless capitalist economy. And then you're going to come home and you're going to be surprised that you're resenting and angry at your husband and feel like he's not making your life easy enough. Because that's the available target. That's what you have, because you can't direct that frustration at your boss because you get fired. You can't direct that frustration at your coworkers because the American workplace prioritizes above all things emotional calm. So all of the warfare in the corporate workplace is like passive aggressive, behind the back bullshit that's, covered in 16 layers of doublespeak, right? Which that is how women fight. But basically you're setting up an environment where the absolute worst, most spineless men and the absolute worst, most ruthless women are going to be the most successful people in society. Because they're going to have the most money, because they're going to do the best in the system we've set up, which is the weaponized HR culture that makes everyone unhappy. And it sucks, and it pits women against men, and I think men, because we take so much stuff at face value, we see the women who are in this environment who are yelling at us, and we're like, stop yelling, you suck, God, you're terrible and annoying and rude, and I don't like you. And they're like, aha, men do hate us, and it's like, we didn't. So you start yelling at us, but this is the taking things at face value thing. Think of all those women that exist that are shrieking into their phones. Think of them as your crazy girlfriend. They all just need a taco. They need a taco and a forehead kiss and someone to tell them it's going to be okay and to just listen and hear them out and be like, okay, now can we talk? And they don't have that. And that's why they're so upset. And nobody has told them that they need it. And no one has told them, and no one's told the men that one of the cool things that they can do, even if, is provide that to a woman. And it won't even be that hard. It's not even that hard, because all you have to do is say nothing. Just wait till she's done and give her a taco. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing you have to do. And she's going to see you as a fucking hero. Because nobody's ever done that for her before. Yeah. Hell yeah, the boys that show the construction worker dad, my childhood near spot on. Not the house, a TV show, but so many aspects. Yeah, Home Improvement. That was like the show in the 90s, like back when men and women on TV still liked each other. Throw Pillows gang. Yeah. You bring me around on Throw Pillows now. So price I gotta pay, I guess. Yeah, no, man. All right, guys. Well, it's been rad. I've been doing this for over 2 hours, though, so I gotta go do other shit. But yeah, it's been rad. So we'll see how the views do on this one. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm either gonna do Mondays and Thursdays or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever. I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna be back Monday. I'll let you know. And then I'm doing Touch Grass on Saturday. So that's my panel show. That's Saturdays, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I invite some of my friends on the show, and we talk about some of these same kind of issues, and I try to get like a discussion going. That's what I try to do there. So if that sounds exciting to you, then go ahead and check me out there. God dang. I'm so grateful. I have such a cool chat. I have a great chat. That's awesome. You guys are the best. Yeah, and let me know how this time slot's working for you. So my goal of doing this time slot is I'm trying to. So I do a lot of stuff at night. They do stand up comedy and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff I do is at night. So I picked this time slot because I want everybody who has a laptop job or a wrench turning job that you throw on an earbud and you listen to something while you're working. This to be that show for those people. So if that's working for you, please leave a comment. Let me know. That's what I was thinking. It's been really nice hanging out with you guys, and I will be back for sure on Saturday for Touch Grass, and then Theocracy will be back on Monday. So, you guys, hold on. Our dirty wall scrolls a our nerdy wall scrolls at tchotchkes, considering making room pretty, asking for a friend. Yes. What do I listen to now? Oh, that's very nice. Great show. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you, Selena. All right, folks. I'm going to get out of here. Take it easy. I got to get an outro. I don't have an outro yet, so we're doing a hard out. But it's been cool talking to you guys. Take it easy.